Hello, friends. Today, we're journeying to a place known not only for its glamour and formidable economy, but also as a frontline in a battle against nature itself. That's right, we're talking about California. On the surface, it's America's most famous and prosperous state. But did you know that its very foundation is eroding every year? Ocean waves, raging wildfires, and torrential rains are slowly devouring this beautiful landscape. And the most shocking part? The erosion of its hillsides has become so frequent that it's almost considered normal. But wait, could dead plants be the key to stopping this devastation? Yes, you heard that correctly, dead plants. And how that works is a story we're about to unfold. Around the world, communities from the European Alps to the coastal regions of Australia are grappling with floods, landslides, and wildfires. So, can we learn something from California's struggle? Let's embark on this thrilling journey to see how the forces of nature and human ingenuity are clashing. Are you ready? Let's begin. But before we move forward, we have a small request. If this is your first time on our channel, please consider subscribing, and if you enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a like. California's power and its vulnerability. California. What comes to mind when you hear that name? Hollywood, Silicon Valley, the Golden Gate Bridge, or perhaps the sheer economic might that makes it one of the world's strongest economies? Friends, California's economy is a titan, dwarfing entire nations. But every coin has two sides. Behind this glittering facade lies a terrifying truth: erosion. Its coastline is gradually vanishing. Agricultural practices are weakening the land. And most dangerously, the erosion of its hillsides becomes catastrophic in the aftermath of wildfires. But hold on, what is the connection between wildfires and erosion? And how could a few dead plants become the solution to this crisis? These questions are spinning in your head, aren't they? Just wait a little longer, because the story ahead is even more fascinating. The fury of rain and the havoc of floods. In California, rain isn't just rain. When it arrives, it's as if the heavens have opened up. In just a few hours, so much water can fall that it sweeps away roads, homes, and entire communities. For instance, between December 2022 and March 2023, the rainfall was so intense that it led to 22 fatalities, left 200,000 homes without power, and forced 6,000 people to evacuate. But that's just a glimpse of the chaos. Scientists warn that California is now trapped in a vicious cycle of drought and deluge. The dry spells are long, and when the rains finally come, they are violently concentrated over short periods. This situation is predicted to worsen. But what is the relationship between this rainfall and erosion? And do these patterns echo in other parts of the world? If you think this story is unique to California, hold that thought, because we'll soon reveal how these very problems are a global challenge. Wildfires, the other face of devastation. Fires are not new to California, but the events of January 2025 were the stuff of nightmares. In Los Angeles and its surrounding areas, a blaze damaged over 10,000 structures, forced 180,000 people to flee their homes, and caused damages exceeding $250 billion. Imagine a catastrophe on that scale. But this isn't an isolated incident. Since the year 2000, thousands to millions of acres of forest have been reduced to ash annually. In 2020 alone, there were over 81,000 fire incidents that scorched more than 4.4 million acres. And these fires don't just destroy the forest, they weaken the land, dramatically increasing the risk of erosion and floods. But wait, how does this combination of fire and erosion become so deadly? And is there a solution? The answer is yes, and it lies within dead plants. Intrigued? Let's uncover this secret in the next section, the magic of dead plants. Now we come to the part that might surprise you the most. What does California use to prevent hillside erosion after a wildfire? Dead plants, specifically straw. Yes, that simple, ordinary straw, often seen as agricultural waste, becomes the hero in the fight to save the land. In 2014, the King Fire in El Dorado County incinerated 99,000 acres of forest. Roads, reservoirs, and power stations were all under threat. But the U.S. Forest Service did something that sounds like magic. They used helicopters to spread straw across the scorched slopes. A single helicopter could cover 1 acre with 1 ton of straw in a single trip, taking only 4 minutes per cycle. But what does this straw actually do? Essentially, a wildfire burns away the plant roots that hold the soil together. When rain comes, the soil washes away, and chunks of the mountainside begin to collapse. But straw acts as a protective shield. It slows down the rainwater, prevents the soil from being carried away, and reduces the risk of flooding. According to a study in Spain, covering 80% of the land with straw can reduce erosion by up to 90%. But is it that simple? And are there any drawbacks? Let's find out. Other methods. Are they as effective? Straw is a powerful tool, but are there other ways to stop erosion? Yes. Several other methods have been tried. For example, straw barriers. These are rolls made of straw, placed on slopes to block water and soil. The problem is, they aren't very effective during heavy rainfall. Then there's the use of wood. In burned forests, logs are laid across slopes to hold back the soil, but these too can be overwhelmed by intense downpours. A third method is seeding. This involves trying to grow new plants in burned areas, but this technique hasn't been very successful either, as it's difficult for seeds to survive in the harsh conditions. So, is straw the best solution? Perhaps, but not entirely on its own. Preventing erosion requires a combination of different methods working together. But hold on, why is all of this so expensive? And could these methods be applied in other vulnerable regions around the globe? These questions are likely on your mind. So let's wrap up the story in our final section, the cost and the path forward. Friends, using straw might sound simple, but it's far from cheap. After the Cameron Peak fire in Colorado in 2020, it cost $31 million to cover 10,800 acres with straw. A single helicopter trip cost between $5,000 and $6,000. But is this cost justified? When roads, homes, and human lives are at stake, the answer is probably yes. Globally, regions from the landslide-prone mountains of Southeast Asia to the fire-scarred landscapes of the Mediterranean face similar threats of erosion and flooding. Can we learn from California's methods? Can straw, wood, or seeding help protect our vulnerable landscapes? And the biggest question of all, can we win this war against nature? This story isn't just about California. It's a story about all of us. Nature is challenging us every day, and we must find solutions together. So friends, do you think dead plants can save our land? Or do we need to search for bigger, more radical solutions? Be sure to share your thoughts with us, and thank you for watching this video until the end. Friends, we hope you enjoyed our video today. If you liked it, please don't forget to give it a like. And if you're new to our channel, please be sure to subscribe.